Welcome along. It's 9:05. I'm Patrick Christys. Now, Keir Starmer will be willing to sell this country out to the extremists if it gets him a few more votes, in my view. It hasn't taken long for the mask to slip. It's worth remembering that the Labour Party is only the second political party to be found to have acted unlawfully by the Equality and Human Rights Commission, the other being the BNP. Keir Starmer says it's changed. Well, it hasn't. The mask slipped when Wes Streeting tweeted this about Conservative voters, didn't he? A win for Susan Hall and the Conservatives is a win for racists, white supremacists and Islamophobes the world over. Starmer stayed silent. Why did he stay silent? Yes, well, could it be because Wes Streeting is quite possibly going to lose his seat to an independent, pro-Palestine candidate? That's exactly what I think could happen. His majority is 5,218. The size of the Muslim population in his seat, 25,743. That is 27.3% of his electorate. Goodbye, Wes. So, Starmer can't condemn his comments. It's weak. In London, Starmer kept his mouth shut when Sadiq Khan launched another dog whistle attack on the chief rabbi. He said that the reason the rabbi had called him out for his Gaza ceasefire stance was essentially because he was a Muslim, saying that the rabbi didn't call out Andy Burnham because he's not called Ahmed Barani. He's now apologised. But Starmer didn't condemn it. Why not? Because he wants to win. Keir Starmer has got Jess Phillips piping up now, saying she's worried about losing her seat because of the party's stance on Gaza. She's got a majority, apparently, of over 10,000 in Birmingham Yardley. But the percentage of the Muslim vote in her constituency is a whopping 37.4%. That's around 32,000 people. So what happens? The newly elected mayor for Palestine, West Midlands, yeah, that's right, immediately tweets, an Israeli offensive in Rafah must not go ahead. Immediate ceasefire. There's some other stuff on there as well. I mean, look, Birmingham Council has just gone bankrupt. But yeah, you focus on the important local stuff, Mayor. You've got nutters like this.
Horton, Great Horton, Manningham, Heaton, City Ward, and Collar. I'm going to tell you something here. This is a clear message to Starmer. Bradford has rejected Labour. It's rejected Zionism. And this is a message to you, Nash Shah and Imran Hussain. We are coming for you in the general election. Anyone that stands with Zionism, we're coming after you. Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Wonder if he knows what day of the week the local bin collection is. But anyway, Keir Starmer will do whatever it takes in order to win him and people like him back. And if you don't believe me, just look at what he's been willing to do with Natalie Elphicke. This woman is essentially to the right of Genghis Khan, OK? She's been criticised for slamming her husband's sex assault victims. She's also been told to F off by the Shadow Chancellor. She's been absolutely caning Starmer, his party, every Labour MP and everything they've ever done. And yet, just to try to score a cheap point against Rishi Sunak, Starmer was willing to throw his arms around her, welcome her in, and then send out the swivel-eyed Annalise Dodds onto the media round today to say how Elphicke is a good fit for the Labour Party. I mean, here's the National's front page. There you go. Look, Labour values. Being suspended from the Commons for trying to influence a judge in her ex-husband's sexual assault trial, backing Johnson and Truss, supporting Israel's bombardment of Gaza, attacking trade unions over P&O firing scandals, scaremongering about vulnerable asylum seekers, and finally blaming Rashford's miss on free school meals campaign. It's interesting, isn't it, that Starmer was willing to just allow someone with those views into his party. Starmer's already turned a blind eye to sectarianism. In Rochdale, he had no qualms sending out his shadow cabinet to go into bat for their candidate after he claimed that Israel had allowed the October 7 attacks. Keir Starmer has no problems standing idly by while his lot throw around fake Islamophobia claims, call normal people white supremacists and flirt with anti-Semitism at the pro-Palestine rallies. I don't think he'd have any problem selling Britain down the river for a few more votes, which, by the way, he doesn't even need. And I think that makes it even worse, doesn't it? But let's get the thoughts of my panel this evening. I am joined by the Daily Telegraph columnist Alison Pearson. I've got Conservative peer Lord Sean Bailey and ex-Labour Party advisor Matthew Laza. Alison, should we be worried about Keir Starmer being prepared to embrace sectarianism?
Yeah, I think we should be very worried. I think we could be looking at the gradual Islamification of our country. We do not want a bunch of Muslim councillors dictating British foreign policy. That's the basic fact. And what we saw, as you said, lots of local elections, Muslims cross with Labour for Starmer not taking a more anti-Israeli line, defect to the Greens. I think it's a lovely fact, Patrick, that all the hardline Muslims are in the Green Party, plus the trans women. So we're very much looking forward to that party conference, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Should be a meeting of minds. But
I'll be there, by the way, for that. I want to see that with my own eyes.
You'll be in there. But this guy...
I'm not sure you'll be allowed in, Patrick. I predict you'll be banned.
This guy, Mohsin Ali, wins East Leeds, where people are concerned about what people are concerned about in every local area in the country. Potholes, planning permission, dustbin collection. But no, Mr. Ali wins, shouts Allahu Akbar, God is great, and then says this win is for Gaza. Do the people of Leeds think Rafa might be the tennis player? They certainly don't know where it is in the Gaza Strip. So yes, I'm very, very worried. And I think Starmer has said, we must regain trust. What does that mean? Bending to the will of people who are using now their voting muscle to affect us.
Look, so, Matthew, you're furiously shaking your head there. I mean, where was Starmer on? Sadiq Khan's latest outburst at the chief rabbi, or West Streeting calling a load of people white supremacists. He keeps quiet because he needs the votes, doesn't he?
Well, I mean, Patrick, I'm a bit confused because you're trying to have your cake and eat it. You're trying to simultaneously claim that Labour's in hock to Islamist extremists on the one hand, and yet you're criticising the defection of Natalie Elphicke on the other hand, who's many things.
I'm saying he's got no principles. I'm saying that he's willing to do whatever it takes to get votes, and those two go hand in hand.
It's absolutely not true. I mean, the footage you saw there of the guy in Bradford, his whole point was that he was opposing the Labour Party. He was nothing to do with the Labour Party because he was criticising the Labour Party. We've seen this week this group issue a Muslim vote issue a list of 18 demands, and you say, will Keir Starmer give in to them? The answer is no, and you've seen that already. Because his response is, I've spoken to Keir's office, and their response is absolutely clear. Yes, of course, always have conversations with people from communities of all different types, but no to giving in to demands. Engaging, yes, being held to ransom, no. Well, I mean, Keir Starmer hasn't personally addressed the 18 demands because he's had other things to talk about. I mean, if somebody asked him, I'm sure he will.
OK, but Sean, he also didn't address West Streeting's tweet about Susan Hall. He also didn't address Sadiq Khan's comments there about the chief rabbi. He also didn't really address for quite a while, far too late anyway, what was going on in Rochdale. And I just wonder really whether or not he would be willing to embrace sectarianism if it meant that he got votes.
But that's a problem. He didn't step up and answer them. And if you're a neutral, you'll be sat there thinking, OK, if you don't embrace these things, I need to hear it from you, not from your office. You're trying to be the Prime Minister of the country. I think what we're seeing now is Palestine in particular has become a double-edged sword for Labour. They're very pro that, and that's good. They want to see a ceasefire, don't want to see people hurt, and we all agree that. I certainly do. But because they've wibbled and wobbled, certainly on a local level, now people are saying, we reject you. And what's important about what that councillor said, it's not that he doesn't want to have anything to do with the Labour Party. He said he's rejected them. So he thought that Labour were going to do a particular thing around it, and they're not. And
I don't know why he thought that, because there's never been any indication.
I'll tell you why, because they haven't been clear. There's been lots...
We've been so clear, Sean. We've lost 70,000 votes in the West Midlands. We nearly lost the mayoralty against it. And you're saying, Susan... Let's remind ourselves, Susan Hall got hammered last week, Sean.
Matthew, that's...
Your candidate lost.
That's different. The public have been clear. His community have been clear about what they want. The Labour Party has not.
It's been absolutely clear, Sean. That's why they lost...
They've tried to play both sides.
This is a desperate attempt to smear the fact he got hammered last week. Your candidate got hammered. She did worse than you did.
You're changing the subject. What you're talking about is that community there. We're not talking about Susan Hall. That man...
No, we're not talking about her because she was a total failure.
That man said his community have rejected the Labour Party because of what they have or have not done.
Why is Keir Starmer responsible for what that guy says, what some random person says?
No, because
it has nothing to do with the Labour Party, Sean.
Palestine is a very big issue for the Labour Party because of the way in which they've played it.
Let's bring Alison back into it now, because, there are aspects of this where Jess Phillips is piping up now saying, I'm absolutely bricking, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, I'm absolutely bricking it over my seat because of Gaza. Imagine if she tweeted that. And what does the Mayor of the West Midlands do? Straight away, ceasefire now, ceasefire on Gaza, ceasefire. Sadiq Khan, again, one of the first things after his re-election, ceasefire on Gaza.
That's the government's policy too.
They're not the Mayor for those particular... They're not the Mayors for Palestine, are they?
I think Matthew is being disingenuous.
Yes, in the extreme.
Growing Muslim numbers who have been Labour supporters, they've been counted on as a block vote for Labour, and now they're kicking off on certain aspects of things. And I think we are going to see Labour MPs, even very good and honourable ones, under pressure to bend to certain policies
Absolutely,
which
under
are
pressure.
inimical to the will of the majority of British people.
Under pressure, but there's no evidence that they are doing the bending. You're absolutely right. Of course, it's a very serious issue. I totally agree with you, Alison.
Can I just put
people are
this to you
under pressure.
seriously? If he is willing to allow someone into his party who, by the way, I have no, apart from the fact that she's just done this bonkers defection, I haven't really got a massive issue with Natalie Elphicke at all. I mean, you know, I thought she was relatively sound until quite recently, actually. But you know, if
We might let you in, Patrick, if you want to go in.
Me and
I'm not sure I can get that through the National Executive.
But if he's willing to forego all of his principles and let her in, at the cost of, by the way, quite a few of his own MPs, then what is there to guarantee
He
that
hasn't-
wouldn't all of a sudden you end up with this ranting and raving Allo Akbar guy
He hasn't-
with a Labour rosette?
I don't understand what principle he's changed at Natalie Elphicke in. Natalie Elphicke has been... Natalie Elphicke made a speech in the House of Commons 10 days ago about housing, where she criticised the government completely for its retreat on the landlords bill. That's the thing she's going to be advising the party on. OK, he hasn't changed one policy because of Natalie Elphicke. Her politics have changed because she sees what a failure the Conservative government is, and the rats are leaving the Tories sinking ship.
Can I say something? Right, most people in the country are not going to say, "Oh, well done, Natalie. You know a lot about housing. That's the right thing to do." What they're going to say is, Keir Starmer should have shown a bit of class and said, "Thank you for your support, but no, because you're very, very, very far away from where we are and where we're going." But the reason he didn't say that, because he doesn't have one particular direction of travel. That's the difference, Matthew. Most people are not sat at home with an Excel sheet looking at policy. What they look at is, how does this feel? What these people say? And she has been 100 miles away from where
what she's done is, what she's majored on,
away.
Sean, is the complete and total failure of this government to stop the boats. Her constituencies in Dover, her constituents are paying the price for 14 years of government failure and migration, which has seen the small boats crisis get worse, not
what
better.
You're saying it's all about her. That I can accept.
No, I'm saying that she thinks the government's failed on the small boats crisis, and that Keir's got a plan.
Keir Starmer should have just said, "Thank you, Natalie, but no, support us from over there."
A year ago, Natalie Elphicke wrote an article for the Daily Mail complaining about that Starmer was weak on the small boats. So she's changed her tune, hasn't she?
Yeah, of course, absolutely, and people do change their mind. And we're going to discuss later Labour's next step on its plan to stop the small boats, which I'm sure she's going to endorse.
The only surprise about Natalie is that she's far to the right of most of the people sitting on the Conservative benches. I mean, there's at least 50 of them who are far more left-wing than she is, aren't there?
No, there are
more like 300 of them.
I think, you know, we hear all too often, don't we, that silence is violence. And I think we have to consider that when we think about how silent Keir Starmer has been on some of the, I would say, filth. What Wet Streeting tweeted was filth, I think, about how basically people who want to vote for Conservatives are white supremacists.
Didn't quite say that.
Well, what did he say? He said that a victory for Susan Hall will be a victory for white supremacists, racists, and something else.
Susan Hall endorsed Donald Trump.
And
She liked Islamophobic posts on Facebook, and that's why she got hammered. You know, because the people of London, of all different communities,
because he was making it up.
No, he wasn't making it up. Because she'd endorsed Donald Trump.
So go on, is Sean a white supremacist?
No, but Sean wasn't the candidate. That's why Sean got more votes than Susan Hall did.
I did vote for her.
You might have won, Sean, if you'd restood.
Yeah, and I've got to say, Matthew, again, I think you're being disingenuous. What he said was very, very offensive. You're talking to a person like me who spent most of his youth running away from the NF. So to be told, just because I don't share his political views, I'm somehow a white supremacist, I actually think is dangerous, because what you're saying to people is you can't even look at.
He didn't say you were a white supremacist, it would be comforts to people. That's different.
Okay, what he wrote made people think, okay, if I do this, am I a white supremacist? That's wrong. Just because I don't
still went out and voted Labour.
Just because I don't share your political view, you can't just then label me any way you like. I think it's dangerous, and it terrifies small communities because they don't know what to do. Because if they want to go a different way for housing or whatever, they're going to be accused of being racist, which is something they can't stomach.
All right, now I mean, this is. It's good to have you back, Sean. By the way, we have missed you. Thank you very much.